Welcome, welcome, welcome to this edition of the Ignition Switch, the global podcast for women who lead with vision, faith, and purpose. Today's guest embodies what it means to rise from burnout into balance and to lead from a place of wholeness. Let me tell you, I have said this every time I've interviewed someone that I have met some of the best people this side of heaven, and today is no exception. Dr. Tomi Mitchell is a board certified family physician, wellness, and performance coach. She is also an international keynote speaker and an author. And as the founder of Holistic Wellness Strategies, she equips physicians, executives, and faith driven leaders to overcome burnout, reclaim clarity, and create sustainable impact without sacrificing their well being. I'm telling you, if I could not have aligned a better interviewee today, and I'm so excited for you to meet her. Through her burnout triad and 3E's framework, Dr. Tomi challenges the myth that success requires self-neglect. Her message is very clear. Balance isn't a luxury, it's leadership necessities. She's spoken on global stages, including a TEDx, empowering leaders to lead with confidence, compassion, and purpose. And so I am so glad to have our wonderful Dr. Tomi Mitchell. Dr. Tomi, thank you for joining us today. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Dr. Simmons. I really look forward to having the conversation. Also having another one, you on my podcast, not about a year ago. So it's nice to
Yes.
return the favor.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I enjoyed it, and I remember that time, and we had a great conversation then, and I know we're going to have an even better one today. And so I'm just so impressed with what you do because it is so directly aligned with what I do here. And so I'm just excited to jump in. So tell us about your how you transitioned from practicing traditional medicine to founding the holistic wellness strategies. And what was that defining moment for you?
Well, the defining moment was over a decade in practice, running my own multi-million dollar medical center with staff and team over the years, and going into my exam room, shutting the door, and literally hitting my head on the table, asking myself, what am I doing? How could a woman with so many gifts, talents, be so exhausted? There was no joy left in me. It was squeezed out. Like everything was gone. And I knew I had to make a decision, and I had to make one where for once I looked at my interest first and not continue to be a martyr to a lost cause. And that was the tipping point for me when I actually made a decision, because trust me, I knew I was exhausted many times before. I made like soft decisions, but a real like 180 realignment, that was the tipping point.
Wow, wow, that is amazing. You know, sometimes we confuse success and exhaustion, like they're interchangeable and inevitable. You know, you can't have success without exhaustion, people say. But I'm so glad to know and to have a living witness in you that it is possible to have one without the other.
Yes, like it don't mean that you're not gonna be tired. There are days I'm tired, but true exhaustion, like nothing left to give, cup empty. No, 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 no. That
Mhm.
is not a territory I want to ever go back to. And you can have success, like you said, without being empty.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you reframed burnout as an issue of neglected relationships uh,
Yes.
with ourselves, with others, and our work. Can you walk us through that concept and why it resonates so deeply with high achieving women?
Yeah, so I recently reframed it as the anatomy of alignment, the three-leg stool. So think of a three-leg stool like with three critical relationships. Each of those legs need to be there strong to support the weight of the stool. Well, in life, we have critical relationships. Number one, the most important one is the relationship with ourselves, right? How we see ourselves, our beliefs, identity, all those past experiences that has molded us to become the women individuals we are today. So that's the most important one, but often the most neglected. Number two, relationship with significant other or your close. confidant, right? Those are your people. How is that relationship? Because if that's weak, the stool wobbles, right? Burnout thrives when the stool wobbles and falls. And then third, the one that the WHO focuses on is just work and society, right? It categorizes work burnout as being an occupational phenomenon. But after talking to hundreds of people, having hundreds of comments and 300,000 views in my TEDx talk and going to different conferences, people are like, oh my goodness, this is what's missing. Nobody's talking about it. I'm like, I know, exactly. Because I had to live through burnout. I was the first petri dish, and COVID was that perfect, situation, the pandemic to really stir things up, to really test you. And I'm resilient, I'm strong, I'm driven, I have faith, but there's only so much you can do when all three legs are cut. You got no legs to stand on. You fall, right? And when that happens, burnout thrives. And looking at the stool analogy, talking about alignment, it really helps my clients, my audience really go, my goodness, that is so true, because nobody really likes to talk about the elephant in the room. It's easy to project. It's much more uncomfortable, but it's so powerful to be able to have the courage and grace to look within.
Yes, yes. And you mentioned faith in your answer just a moment ago. And
Yes.
many of our listeners lead in both boardrooms and ministries. How has your faith influenced your approach to healing and leadership and redefining success?
Faith is critical. It's the foundation. So part of the alignment with the three legs, there's also a piece I never mentioned. That's the struts. The struts are what supports those legs together. And that's your faith, the belief in that which is greater, right? For me as a Christian, it's God, right? They help strengthen those relationships. But
Mhm.
faith without the work of those relationships is dead. And I gotta say this because a lot of people in the church community, they like to talk about faith. Oh, yeah, faith, 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 faith. But they forget about the work. There's an outward manifestation of that faith. It can get messy, it can be uncomfortable, but it's not fluff. Fluff is when you're just faith, 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 without substance, right? That's not authentic. That's not real. That's not going to get you anywhere. And people will see through it, and you will fall flat on your face over and over and struggle to get up because you have no legs to stand on.
Mhm. Absolutely, absolutely. I love the reference to the scripture in James about faith without works is dead, being alone.
Yeah.
And you are absolutely right there. So many women believe that burnout is just the price of purpose. It's the price of their success. What do you say to the leader who feels guilty for slowing down?
Rest is your duty, okay? Strategic rest scheduled in your schedule is important. Your relationship with yourself, this body, this temple, that's your responsibility. So you are doing your service of worship by resting. Okay.
Mhm.
Burnout does not need to be inevitable. Burnout occurs when we have misalignment. Okay. Something is not right. All right. And I've been there, honey. Like I have been the girl driving her car, and then suddenly, ooh, my car's on the side because I didn't check my tires, I didn't do my alignment. I've been just like the stool, having three wobbly legs, all three, and then putting more weight on it, and then COVID, whew, done, right?
Yes. Wow. You know, um, you are using all of my keywords here my brain is firing on all cylinders here because when you talk about alignment or misalignment, people don't realize, especially us lady leaders, we don't realize that that's the key,
Yes,
between having a job and a calling. It's the alignment.
yes. And to stay in alignment, I talk about your relationships, these critical relationships, should be in alignment with the vision you have for your life, that God given purpose, that it should be in alignment. They should be pushing you forward. But if
Yeah.
those relationships are not pushing you in that right direction,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna crash and burn. They'll be pulled left, right, and center. So first, you gotta know who you are and what your purpose on this earth. You're not just in your car driving around like I'm going somewhere, but you don't know where you're going. Like back in the day,
Right.
we used to have MapQuest. Remember?
Yes.
I've driven from Jersey to Georgia to like Atlanta on MapQuest as a 20-some-year-old woman. Okay, I'm dating myself. But I had a map. I had a piece of paper, 5 pieces of paper to tell me where to
Yes.
go. I've done that. That's crazy.
Me too.
MapQuest.
Oh, gotta love it.
Yeah. So you got to have a vision for your life. And if you haven't, you need to, sit down and really look deep because sometimes we lose sight of that vision. We get distracted by the glitter and the
Yeah.
stuff where we think we should go. But yeah, anyway, I could talk a lot, but that's my answer and I'm sticking to it.
Well, great. That's wonderful. Dr. Tommy, you often speak about building resilience, not
Yes.
resistance.
Yes.
How can women discern the difference and protect their peace while still pursuing excellence?
All right. So, resilience and resistance are two different things, but people confuse them. Resistance is like a wall. Okay? Help us on the other side, and you're here. And you're like, help me, but there's a wall. I can't dig. I can't dig under. It's too built too deep. It's too high. I don't have a ladder, and I'm scared of heights. You know what I mean? That's resistance. People are like, they don't want. They want change. They want to improve. No, they don't want change. They want the results of change. The results of hard work, but won't do the work. Now, resiliency is different. It's like one of those like back in the 70s and 80s in those old school homes, you used to have the homes that have the little beads and that separating
Yes.
the roofs. Oh my
Yes.
goodness. Like, way back, right? Like
Yes.
it's like Egyptian, like people have them in their homes.
Hmm.
That's resiliency. Because you do have some boundary, but you can
Hmm.
go through, right?
Yes.
So it's
Yes.
ability to accept help, to give and receive, to have that two-way dialogue with who you need to have with. A lot of women live on these islands and they have a big old wall, Gilligan's Island, whatever. And they're like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. I just need God, I'm gonna do this. But they forget we are created for a relationship. Adam and Eve had each other because they need relationship, right?
Yes.
We as
Yes.
individuals need relationship, and there's different types of relationship, but we need it. So be like the old school. Again, this analogy I literally just came up like right now, like with a little shimmer,
Yes. Yes.
and
Yes.
then our boundaries is still there. It's like this is the living room, this is the kitchen, but I can
Yes.
get through when I need to go. Sense can go through, light can go through.
Yes, I love that analogy. That is so relevant for our listeners who may not remember the beads. You'll just have to Google it.
You really have to Google it. I remember
Yes,
those beads. I didn't have them in my
yes,
home before, but some people have beads. I was like, oh, that's so pretty. But no,
yes,
they're
yes.
ugly.
I remember seeing them on TV, old episodes of Sanford and Son, and yeah. But I tell you, but let me stay on track here because we can definitely go down memory lane. But you talk about legacy through balance. Um,
Yes.
and so what does legacy look like when a leader is operating from balance?
Oh, like it's so beautiful. It's sustainable. It's whole. There's wellness. There's systems, processes in place. It's reproducible, right? It's not just going random. People like, what's he gonna say next? Like, what project next? There's a structure, right? And
Yeah.
there's a mission that is bigger than oneself, bigger than
Mhm,
your organization. In
mhm.
my businesses, and I've recently added another one, after including on top of holistic wellness strategies, it's my goal is to touch one life so
Mhm.
that they can touch their families, communities, and the world. So mine is bigger than myself, right?
Okay.
And now it's more like I want to touch many so they can go do more because like I rather do one to many than one to
Mhm.
one. But it's both. It's like so they can impact change, domino effect, so that my children can live in a better world that I'm currently living in. Because I'm not liking this world right now. But
You
I
think?
right? It's like
Yeah.
I thought we had a dream, okay? I thought that was
Exactly.
that's not the
Yes.
conversation, but that's the piece. So leaders living with legacy, there's empathy, there's emotional intelligence, there's education, and there's succession plan.
Yes. Yes. And yes. And I think just from my circles, I think one area that we fall short in is a succession planning.
Yes.
It's
Oh,
it's very important to me. I'll just say I'm not 20 or 30 anymore. We'll just stop there.
they
But
grown, all good.
yeah, and but what I found is the older you get, the more you think about how will I be remembered? What
Yeah.
impact have I left?
Mm-hmm.
Um, have I made a difference?
Mm-hmm.
And can what I've built continue once I'm gone? Because I
Yeah.
often say you're using another keyword when you say legacy. I often say that I'm building a legacy to outlive me.
Yeah.
And if we're not building with that in mind, I'm not saying have you know ideations about it, where I'm not going to be here anymore. But the reality is we're not going to be here forever.
But we're not
And
going to be forever.
yeah,
Exactly. I
yeah.
want to be here as long as I can, God willing. I'm planning on living to past 100 because my insurance company, they give me back all my premiums after 100. And I'm going to go wild out. Okay? Wild out. Because I've been paying those people a whole hell of a lot of money, excuse my French, over the past decades. Okay? So just so you know. And I will, by God's grace, have my wits. I'll be able to wipe my own butt. I will be in my own home. And I have my man by my side. Somebody.
Okay.
Okay? So just
Well,
saying.
I guess that was the bonus addition.
But hey, you get spicy and you get, you didn't know that? I have more energy now than I did even a year ago when I first met you. I have more joy, more passion than I did. I have gone through hell and back, but I've come back victorious and strong. And that's why I come here and talk with passion and just like, because I know what I know.
Wow. That is so amazing. That is so amazing. I do want to refer back to one point that I remember from our previous podcast interview, because if I recall correctly, we were supposed to be talking about one thing, and I ended up sharing my story with
Yes.
you. And I remember you saying, well, I thought we were going to talk about burnout, but man, you just took us in a totally different direction. And I said to you, I said, actually, I see the connection very clearly, because um, when you don't feel successful in one area, you tend to overcompensate in others.
Yeah.
And, I became a workaholic. I just, worked, did everything, threw myself into ministry, threw myself into everything else to fill a void. I needed to feel successful. And
Yeah.
and so, I'm just so excited to hear about the work that you're doing. And you mentioned that you've been through so much since
Mm-hmm.
our conversation a year ago.
Yeah.
And that is these stories, they make us. They
Oh,
make us. Some we can share, some we can't.
yeah.
um but they make us who we are today. And for whatever you went through, I'm sorry for the pain and possible trauma, but man, you're glowing. You really are.
Yeah, no, thank you. These situations can either make us or break us. You know what I mean? And
Yes.
we have a choice after we
Mhm,
lick our wounds and be like, okay, this really sucks. It really hurt me, or this is really unfair. Yeah, I get it.
mhm,
But
mhm.
what do you have to do to make these experiences, regardless of how big or small they may seem, worth it? I think everything is a lesson. We just have to have a growth mindset when we go into life. And when we look back, as the late Steve Jobs said, in life we often have to connect the dots backwards. I have to connect the dots back. I connect the dots backwards. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. That
Mhm.
makes sense. And we have to give ourselves compassion and grace, knowing that we only do the best we can do with the knowledge we have at that time.
Yes,
Right?
absolutely.
Right? So that's another story completely. I know, but It's just what it is. But I'm grateful. I'm so happy. And thank you. I am glowing. It's not just the ring light. I feel like it's good.
Yes, yes. So, Dr. Tommy, for the executive or ministry leader listening right now,
Yes.
who's running on empty, what's
Yes.
one simple but powerful action that she can take today to begin her burnout recovery journey?
All right. So stop is the first thing. Like pause. Okay? Sometimes we need to like take a day off and pause. Get back to the basics. Get back to your health. I'm a coach, but I'm also a physician, I'm a family physician, primary care. And so often I see people that neglect their health on so many levels. All right. So you might need a basic tune up checkup, like get your wheels aligned. Maybe need new oil, new engine. I don't know, but something. All right. Then look at your relationships and ask yourself, are these the relationships is this what I want? Are they in alignment with the vision I have for my life, my God given vision? And if not, what are you going to do about them? Right. And then we want to create steps for the next step. Like, what do we need to do? So I have a framework, the 3E's you mentioned at the beginning, Dr. Simmons. The first is embrace the past, the present, and future. It happened. It's part of who we are. My past is part of what made me the bright woman I am today. I wasn't bright and happy before, but I sure am now. So that's embrace, step one. Step two is evaluate, like being a detective or a physician. When I have a patient that comes in with fatigue, I dig deep. I try to find the root layers, the cause being like the why beneath the why beneath the why. Like, what are the root causes to this problem? So that's step two that everyone can do. And the third one requires more than just yourself to do. And that's the one that most people struggle with, and that's energize. That is taking empowered action with accountability and structures in place to support you, because we can't do this on our own. Remember, we are created, designed to be in relationship, right? Hiring professionals to help you, coaches, mentors, having good physicians, other healthcare professionals to help you, you know. And this is the other thing. If you want to rise, you need to elevate your crew. You need to elevate the people that pour life into you. Because if you're not careful, they're going to pull you down. And they may not intend it. That's what they know.
That was a whole sermon, Dr. Tommy.
Anytime, sis.
That really was, and so relevant and powerful, um, and it spoke to my heart, because as a leader, and especially as a woman, it's almost as if we have uh, the Wonder Woman syndrome ingrained in our DNA. You know,
100%.
yeah, we just it's a part of who we are, I think, and um, it has its pluses and it has its minuses, and
Yeah.
sometimes we just lose that balance. And I'm so glad that there are professionals like you, that people can seek out and get the support and help and the strategies and the frameworks that they need in order to thrive.
Yes.
I'm not about just surviving.
Girl, you must be in my playbook, because my one of my newest businesses that I'm launching at the time of this recording is about thriving. Like, it's my medical and aesthetics practice, where I believe where chronic disease is not the norm, it's the exception. Because I don't accept chronic sickness and just all that. And then, secondly, Thrive by Bonsai is helping my patients not just meet guidelines, base levels of mediocrity. I want you to thrive in your health, in your relationships, in your spirituality, financially, mentally, emotionally, environmentally, looking at the 8 aspects of the wellness wheel. That's what we want. Cup overflowing. Because if you want to be able to give and to share and have legacy and systems and processes in place, you need to give from a place of abundance. All right. Because no broke person is going to build an orphanage in some place somewhere far. Right. They're
Mm,
not. They're going to
yeah.
need funds.
Yes,
Give an abundance so you're not burning out.
yes, yes. Oh my goodness. Dr. Tommy, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. This has been a gold mine of a conversation with you today. I appreciate you sharing such rich insights with us. I'm just going to be selfish and say with me, I know there are a bunch of viewers and listeners, but you shared so much with me today that I can take and I can implement. And it's just been a powerful conversation. And you reminded us that leadership is not about how much we can carry. It's
Mhm.
about how intentionally we care for what truly matters. And it starts with our bodies, taking care of our bodies, because um, as I told my husband one time, dead people don't work, you know.
Mm. Don't pay taxes.
No, no. And so we definitely have to ensure that we have the systems in place to improve and maintain um, an optimal quality of life. And so I really appreciate you being on the show.
I
Thank you
appreciate
so
you having
much.
me.
Yes, yes, this was just a great feature. I'm so excited about it. And so if you will hang out just for a minute, I'm going to wrap up the show and I'll be right back with you. Thanks again, Dr. Tommy.
You're welcome, my dear.
All right. I told you before I brought Dr. Tomi Mitchell on to the show that I have met some of the best people this side of heaven, and I didn't lie. Nope, I did not. This was such an insightful conversation, and I want to say to every listener tuning in, um, my prayer, my desire for you is that you remember that your strength doesn't come from striving, but from staying aligned. That was a word that you heard a lot today. And it's a word that I use a lot in my show and my content because it truly speaks to the sentiment of my heart and my values. Balance isn't a detour from purpose, it's the path to it, it's a part of the plan. Balance is intentional. And so if today's conversation stirred something in you, connect with Dr. Tomi Mitchell. You'll see her links in the show notes or description around the podcast or the video, and explore her 3E's framework at Holistic Wellness Strategies. I'm sure she would be glad to talk with you. And so reach out to her. And as always, don't just listen, but lead from that place of overflow and from that place of balance. So until the next time, stay aligned, stay faithful, but most of all, stay on fire with your purpose. And I'll see you on the next edition of the Ignition Switch.